Whenever I interacted with Kaine, I was reminded about something from my past. Maybe my mind has been confusing her with my sister this whole time. Anyway...
Causing even the slightest drizzle to rattle like a thunderstorm. Thin wisps of smoke from huts as the village huddled in their homes and waited. Into the wound and twisted back and forth. Hit you with a rock, you stupid bitch, a big one. That thing could have killed me. The woman shrugged. Death is the best cure, stupid. For grandmother's stomach, kind of. Just deserve it. Nothing matters anymore. Tears. For so long, finally began to fall on the muddy ground below. Everyone hates me. They think I cause bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. I wish I was dead. As Kaine's tears turned into sobs, she felt her grandmother's hands on her shoulders. Despite her advanced age and diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength, and Kaine found herself unable to turn away. Don't talk like that, girl. It's a river. Right and deep that flows between the realms of this world and grants no mercy to anyone that attempts the crossing. You got a duty to fight until your last breath. Understand? You know the pain of losing someone close to you, Kaine. You survived it. Quickly accepted her as her own. It was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence, and their first few years together had not been easy. She had passed kindly, and her grandmother had grown closer. However, it was only now, sitting in the mud with tears and blood caking her face, that Kaine truly understood the depths of her affection. There was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things, and somehow emerged on the other side. I could understand Kaine's pain and loneliness was her. Do I make you sick, Grandma? Of course not, don't be an ass. And I drew her grandmother's moth-eaten shawl around her body and shuddered for my body. It's not normal. If I was normal, then Mom and Dad wouldn't. Hush, interrupted Grandma. I'll not hear another word of this nonsense. You're my granddaughter and I love you. Then you just go to hell. Dried flowers, guys. Skilled. Without breaking the stems or losing a single petal was more good. So legendary flowers, most people could live their entire lives without ever seeing one, and yet her grandmother had somehow collected a dozen or more. Kaine reached up and touched the wreath as if she couldn't believe it was real. Where did you find these? Just stumbled on them while I was out doing the shopping. The old woman turned away as she spoke, leading Kaine to suspect that the search had been more difficult than she was letting on. The pain she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flowers used in its construction, made Kaine's heart hurt. She She reached up and gently adjusted the wreath, admiring the way it felt between her fingers. Didn't quite turn out right, said her mother as she squinted. These old hands have trouble with delicate work, but it sure looks good on a pretty girl like you. Bushman turned away. You think I'm pretty? Of course you are. What a fool thing to say. Thank you, Grandma. Grandma smiled. We'll be fine, you and me, she said. As long as we got each other, we'll be fine. Connie took her grandmother's hand in hers, and the two of them struggled to their feet as they began to walk home. Connie gripped her hand with all her might, as if trying to stop smoke from drifting away on the wind. Rain had stopped. Connie stood in the rain, watching it spin in lazy circles, no longer caring about the direction it faced when it stopped. I don't need to escape. I have a home now. Grandma loves me, and that's enough. Even if it's us against the world. Kind of let her gaze drift past the rain at the cloudy sky. Last faint hints of a rainbow were slowly fading. She turned. The light scattered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taken away from stupid piece of shit axe. Kanye's grandmother flailed away with the axe, filling the air with both splinters of wood and words that make the hardened sailor blush. Grandma called Kanye. That you, Kanye? Yelled the old woman, taking her eyes off the wood for a moment. Don't get too close or I might take your goddamn foot off by mistake. She brought the axe down on a piece of wood, sending chips flying in every direction. One spun past Kanye close enough for her to hear the whistle, at which point she decided to step back. When she scuttled to a safe distance, she cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, Grandma, do you need help? I can get you water or lunch or a new axe or something. The axe poised to strike, another wobbly blow paused in midair. The old woman considered her granddaughter's offer for a moment, then smiled. Tell you what, since I'm doing such a piss poor job of chopping, why don't you come here and take over so I can go get the water? Shades have been restless lately, and I don't want you running into one of them bastards. Relinquishing the axe, her grandmother picked up a long pole with buckets on either end. Gathering water was by far the more difficult of the two jobs, but Kanye knew better than to complain. Once Grandma's mind was set, there was no changing it. Kanye did her best to help with chores, but Grandma took every task that required travel to the village. Though she had a long list of plausible excuses, Kanye knew the real reason. She didn't want her granddaughter to be taunted and harassed by the villagers. Once Kanye moved in, Grandma decided to take up residence a good distance from the... Once Kanye moved in, Grandma decided to take up residence a good distance from the Airy. Out of sight, out of mind seemed to be the best policy when it came to the villagers and her granddaughter, and rare were the days when any but the two of them could be found on the rocky acre of land they called home. Kanye enjoyed the solitude, but harbored a secret resentment for her grandmother, that her grandmother was forced to spend her golden years in such a place. After watching grandmother leave, Kanye turned her attention to the task at hand. She had never chopped wood before in her life, and soon discovered why the old woman hated the chore. Swing after swing of the axe produced only tiny cracks in the wood. When she finally managed to connect with the solid stroke, the tool embedded itself in the log and refused to budge. Frustrated, Kanye swung the axe around her head and threw it, log and all, across the yard. Damn it, crap. She suddenly understood the joy her grandmother felt. A good curse. Happier now, she picked up the axe and forced it from the wood, resumed chopping. She had a natural skill with the blade, but the task was challenging, and blisters soon began to form on her small pink hands. This is tough, and my logs are all weird sizes. Spitting on her palms and ignoring the pain, Kaine redoubled her efforts. Just as she was developing a rhythm, Grandma returned from the village. Setting down her bucket with a small sigh, she took one look at the logs and coughed out a wheezy laugh. Pretty clumsy girl, you better practice if you... Grandma suddenly collapsed to her knees, causing one of the buckets to wobble precariously. Eyes wide, Kaine dropped the axe and ran to her grandmother's side. Grandma, the old woman shook her head and pointed a trembling finger at the bucket. Get the bucket, can't let it spill. Steadied the bucket with a foot as she knelt by her grandmother. A small bit of water sloshed over the side and made a new home in the hem of her dress, but Kaine didn't notice. Grandma, what's happening? Crazed with panic, she grabbed her grandmother by the shoulder and shook. After a moment, the woman lifted her arms and batted Kaine away. Stop that, just stop, she cried, breathing heavily. It ain't like I'm dying. Just tired from the trip is all. Kaine desperately wanted to believe her, but one look at the old woman's shaking hands and worn face told her more than words ever could. Her grandmother had lived a long, hard life, and it would seem the bill was finally coming due. The time when her grandmother watched over Kaine was ending. Sooner than either of them had feared, the positions would be reversed. The next morning, Kaine came to the side of her grandmother's bed and took her wrinkled hand. Grandma, you're sick and you need medicine. I'm going to the village. The old woman shook her head and tried to rise, but Kaine gently pushed her down. It's all right, she said. I'll be fine. Her grandmother fixed her gaze with a gaze that could melt steel. After what seemed like an eternity, she finally lowered her eyes and sighed. Well, I don't like it. God damn it. But I guess I should quit being so stubborn and let you grow up. The old woman watched as Kaine strapped on her boots and made her way down the road to the village. Hours later, as an unseen sun made its way across a dark and rainy sky, she was still watching. Kaine moved at a brisk pace, checking her pockets every few minutes to make sure the money her grandmother gave her was still there. Every noise caused her to spin on her heels, making sure she wasn't being stalked by a shade, or worse, Daimon and his gang. But she encountered neither tormentors nor shades, and Kaine finally found herself at the entrance to the village. The few adults she could see glanced sideways at her, then muttered to each other behind raised hands before slinking away to the shadows. Her heart racing, Kaine took a series of rapid, shallow breaths and tried to calm herself. I have to prove myself. I have to help Grandma. I have to be strong. She chanted those words to herself over and over as she slowly made her way. Finally, her eyes settled on a rotund older woman who was angrily waving her arms in the air and telling anyone who would listen exactly what she thought of Kaine's presence. Hey lady, said Kaine with a bravado she did not feel. Where's the apothecary? Flabby cheeks shook in bewildered anger. How dare this thing speak to me? They seemed to say, but Kaine saw that her eyes held a different emotion, fear. Yeah, we're both scared, lady. Trust me on this one. Which way? Kaine repeated. The woman pointed at a small building to her right before hitching up her dress and stumbling off in another direction. Kaine cringed, expecting a stone to come flying from the assembled crowd, but none came. Her mind was filled with a strange sense of pride as she made her way to the apothecary, but the new emotion had a little time to take root, for as soon as she opened the door, she noticed a familiar customer at the counter. It was Daimon. He'd clearly been sent here on some kind of family errand, because his gang of followers was nowhere to be found. Oh my god, he sputtered. What are you doing here, freak? The insult was delivered without force, and Kaine happily ignored it. Stretching on tiptoes to see over the counter, she asked the shopkeeper for the medication. Ha, barked Daimon. That old bitch finally keel over? Go to hell, Daimon. The boy's eyes grew so wide they seemed to really fall out of his head, but before he could let fly a comeback or worse, a punch, the apothecary told them to knock it off before he kicked them out of the store. Daimon slunk out of the shop, cursing Kaine under his breath. Once he was gone, she allowed herself to breathe once more, taking a brief tour of the shop while the owner prepared her medication. Countless tiny bottles filled the cramped store, each with a label written, some indecipherable language. An ocean of aromas assaulted her nose, creating a scent that was exotic but not altogether unpleasant. Seeing such a variety of supplies gave Kaine a sense of peace. Surely in a world so vast there would be a place that she could call home. A far wall behind a counter rested a portrait of a stunning young girl. The picture had once contained bright, vibrant colors, but time had worked its cruel magic and they were beginning to fade. The beauty of the work, however, remained undiminished. You like that picture? Kaine turned to find the apothecary with a small vial of medicine in his hand. His eyes were gentle but sad. They seemed to stare through her and into nothing as he spoke. That's my daughter. I sketched it when she was just a little girl. She's been dead a long time now. Kaine didn't know how to respond. She just stared at the portrait and tried to come up with the right words. Pictures are wonderful things, continued the shopkeeper. They let the ones closest to you live on forever. He shook his head slightly, then looked down at Kaine, smiled, handing her the medicine. She reached into his sizable green apron and produced a handful of old wax crayons. You should have these. There's no one left I wish to draw. Kaine took an instinctive step back, causing the shopkeeper's face to darken. Yes, I've heard the rumors about you, he said. It's a small village and word travels quickly. Between you and me, I'm not sure which one of them I believe, but I also don't think they matter much. I know your grandmother, Callie. I think the way she was driven out of this town is just deplorable. Grandma's name is Callie, thought Kaine suddenly. She was still mulling this new fact over her mind as she reached out and gently took the crayons from the apothecary's hands. Your grandma is an old friend of mine, she said as Kaine scooted away yet again. I owe her much. I wager she would like it if you drew a picture of her. Yes, I think she would like that very much. Kaine murmured a quiet agreement, but inside her heart was bursting. Never before had a villager treated her with anything but complete contempt. It was a tiny, almost imperceptible step, but it was a step nonetheless, and with enough tiny steps, she might one day discover the rest of the world. When Kaine returned home, she found her grandmother asleep in her bed. Her feet were blackened and raw, even bleeding a bit in places, leading Kaine to think that she had been pacing around the room until exhaustion finally caught up with her. She placed the medicine by her grandmother's pillow and turned to leave, but found the old woman's hands clasped around her arm. Back already, are you? Asked her grandmother with a yawn. Come here, we have to take a look at you. Grandma sat up and examined Kaine from head to toe, finally satisfied that nothing terrible had befallen her grandchild. She leaned back and allowed herself to relax. Well, how was it? Those bastards give you any trouble? It was kind of fun, said Kaine with a small smile. No, seriously, it was. Fun, eh? Asked her grandmother in a voice which implied she believed anything but. Uh-huh, so anytime you need me to run an errand, just let me know. As she spoke, Kaine removed the crayons from her pocket. After a brief explanation of their source, she informed the grandmother that she was going to sketch her portrait. A portrait of me? How ridiculous. No one wants to stare at a wrinkled old crone. But Grandma, it'll make you live forever. Horseshit, said her grandmother, throwing back the sheet from her bed. Living forever would just piss me off. Now put those crayons away and help with dinner. But Kaine would not relent, and in the end Grandma found herself leaning against the wall of their house as if posing for a master artist. Kaine took up the crayons, eyed her subject carefully, and set to work. Just as her grandmother was about to nod off, Kaine finally finished the piece. After staring at it for a bit, she released it from her grip and let it slowly drift to the floor. It's terrible. It doesn't look like you at all. I'm sorry, Grandma. I thought these crayons would, make the drawing easier or something. His eyes narrowed at her granddaughter's disappointment. Let me be the judge of that, she said, ignoring the pain in her back and reaching for the paper. The sketch could have been a person's face. It also could have been a boulder, a lump of clay, or an incredibly misshapen loaf of bread, all rendered in a chaotic array of colors. The old woman stared at the picture for a long time, then slowly wheezed out a laugh. "Oh, Kaine," she said between laughter, "you truly are my blood. You're as clumsy as me, and I love it. But, hush, and I won't hear any more bull about how ugly you think it is. It came from the heart. I'll treasure it always." True to her word, the old woman gave the picture a place of honor above the kitchen table. In the days that followed, Kaine would often catch her staring at the portrait with a strange smile on her face, an action she interpreted as silent, mocking laughter. A week later, Kaine could stand it no more and asked her grandmother to take the artwork down. "Posh," said the old woman, "I'll take it down when they roll me in my shroud." She pondered this for a bit, then turned to Kaine and dropped to one knee. "Listen to me, girl. Seeing this picture makes me happy in a way I've never felt before, and it makes me want to go on, so that someday you can feel the same happiness." It was a moment that burned itself in Kaine's memory, a perfect blend of pride and love and joy that came together to form a lifelong remembrance. She swore to never forget this moment, to never forget the old woman who had made her place in the world possible. Time moves on, people and memories move in and out of a life like ghosts passing through a hall, but this moment will be different, Kaine swore, because I will remember it forever. Forever. Kaine listened to the sound of crackling firewood and stared at the black object on her plate. She'd been pushing it around the wooden disc for a good 10 minutes, ignoring the bemused stare of her grandmother. Finally, she summoned her courage and gave the object a brief sniff. A sharp, bitter scent flew up her nostrils and made it home there, causing her face to twist with disgust. "Grandma, I can't believe you want me to eat a bug." The old woman threw some more wood onto the cooking pot and snorted. "It's no bug, you fool. It's a berry. Why the hell would I be feeding you bugs?" "No, it sure looks like a bug," said Kaine. "I think it's burnt or something because it smells terrible." With that, Kaine held her nose and threw the berry in her mouth and chewing as little as possible. "Oh yeah, that's terrible, all right." "Why, you little brat," laughed the old woman. "Look at the sass on you. You've been spending too much time with me, and that's a fact." 5 years had passed since the moment of Kaine's grandmother. From the moment when Kaine's grandmother saved her from the bullies. As is often the way with two stubborn people, their relationship had grown in fits and starts, but moved forward all the same. Meals that used to be somber affairs were now filled with laughter and hurled abuse in equal measure. Kaine could not remember a time when she had been happier. As the years went by, Kaine started to shoulder more and more of the daily responsibilities. Her grandmother's legs grew weaker by the day, and she could no longer do many of the chores she used to take for granted. So this morning found Kaine lacing up her work boots with a breakfast of burned berry rolling through her stomach. "Where are you going today?" asked Grandma suddenly. Kaine looked up, surprised. The old woman rarely asked for specifics anymore. "Well, I was gonna check out the Kona trees and see if they were ripe. I thought we could make some jam or something. Oh, and I'm going to pick up some flagstones, so I need to take the wheelbarrow." "Flagstones? What the hell for?" Stared at her grandmother, and then held out an arm and swept around their home. Constructed mostly of cloth, rope, and rubble, the old place sagged like a boxer in the final round. "Grandma, a dying cat could chew through this house. I'm going to build a stone wall so we have some protection." The old woman laughed, exposing her toothless grin to the world. "Goddamn, girl, if a bunch of thieves want to ransack this old place, let them come. We got nothing worth stealing anyway." "I'm not worried about thieves. I'm worried about shades. People saw one west of the village yesterday." The old woman tilted her head and stared at her granddaughter. "Oh shoot, I don't know why you have to do it today. can worry about it some other... Grandma, no. If I don't go to the Kelma tree, we won't eat tonight, you know that. Confused expression passed over it, and for a moment she was a small child lost to the carnival. Yes, she said after a bit. Yes, of course, you're right. I'm sorry, Kaine. Lately, it seems my mind is... She didn't finish the thought, instead walking over to her nightstand, gently taking the wreath of lunar tears from the drawer. The flower petals had aged to a brilliant whiteness, and Kaine thought it was more beautiful now than the day she first received it. You're going to be a true woman soon, Kaine, her grandma said as she placed the flowers in the girl's hair. So that means less chatter about shades and building defensive walls and more talk about how beautiful you've become. Annoyed, Kaine reached up to remove the garland, but the look on her grandmother's face stopped her hand. You're a beautiful thing, said the woman, and there ain't another like you in all the world. I'm very proud of you. Okay, Grandma, that's enough goddamn compliments for one day. Such a mouth on you. Where did you get that from? Gee, I wonder. I'll teach you to sass me, girl, yelled Grandma. Suddenly she lurched forward and grabbed Kaine by the ear, pulling her around the room with a crazed grin on her face. Grandma, yelled Kaine in a quaking voice. Grandma, stop it. What the hell? And then slowly held her wrinkled hands out as if it's the first time she'd ever seen them. I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, girl. Sometimes my mind just... Kaine thought the look on her grandmother's face was the most heartbreaking thing she had ever seen. Listen, she began. Maybe I should stay home after all. No, I won't have you stay here to keep an eye on an old codger like me. You go get your fruit and your wall and whatnot. I'll be fine, and when you come back, I'll have a nice grasshopper dinner waiting for you. Kaine rolled her eyes and kissed her grandmother on the forehead, made ready to depart, trying desperately to ignore the worry that was gnawing at the walls of her heart. Kaine could feel the old woman's eyes watching her as she moved down the path. Don't turn around, she told herself, but in the end the temptation was too great. She spun on her heel for one final look, and a small bent woman standing in front of a ramshackle hut with a sad expression on her face. God, she looked so old now. It's like the wind could reach down and just carry her away. Kaine worried about her grandmother all day, causing her work to suffer. What little fruit she could collect was tossed carelessly into the wheelbarrow, and she only found a couple of stones before losing interest in the project. Finally, as dusk approached, she decided to call it a day. Cursing herself for the lack of focus, Kaine pushed the near-empty wheelbarrow back down the path. As she crested the final hill, she finally froze in place. The wheelbarrow fell from her fingers and collapsed on its side, sending a few pieces of wrinkled brown fruit rolling down the hill. Keys was transfixed by a thick black cloud that hovered just ahead, tracing its path with a finger. Kaine suddenly felt her stomach knot and went on itself. No, oh gods, no. Grandmother's house was ablaze, the flames licking up as if trying to touch the sky itself. Grandma? Kaine ran then faster than she had ever moved in her life. Once she tripped on a stone and went sprawling into the rocky ground, but she leapt to her feet and continued running, unmindful of the blood that spilled from her wounded hands and knees. As she got closer and closer, Kaine's mind began to race in time with her footfalls. It's too dark, not just fire. Can't be fire, too much smoke. Gotta save her. She burst into the front yard and came to a sudden halt, her worst suspicions confirmed. The smoke from the fire was mingling with the thick, inky blackness of an enormous shade. The massive creature supported itself on 3 twisted feet, achieved balance through means of a large armored tail. Scales, horns, and claws sprouted from its body in a random, chaotic pattern, giving it the appearance of a lizard designed by some insane god. Seeing Kaine, it let out a roar and flicked its tail, sending small whirlwinds spinning around the yard. For a moment the creature retreated into a shimmering inky blackness, as if her mind was unable to comprehend that such a thing could actually exist. But then the smell hit her, a blend of rotted meat and excrement, and the horror became real once more. The creature bellowed again, and this time Kaine responded with a scream of her own. "All right, you bastard," she thought, as her scream echoed off the high walls around them. It's you or me, let's go." Shade eyed Kaine with a bemused interest, then it began looking from her to the house and back again, as if urging her to look at the destruction it had so gleefully wrought. With dread building in her heart, Kaine glanced towards the house. Through the smoke and flame, she spotted a small figure struggling to escape the ruins. "Grandma." At the sound of her voice, the old woman began waving frantically. "She's alive," Kaine thought. "Alive." Kaine's legs sprang to life as she raced across the yard, toward the flaming wreckage of the house. Before she could advance more than a few steps, the shade opened its mouth and let out a roar powerful enough to uproot trees and send them flying. The blast sent Kaine tumbling through the air before smashing her against the rocky earth. Stars danced in front of her eyes as she tried to remember how her legs worked. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, now. Kaine struggled to her feet as Shade stomped toward the house and pinned her grandmother to the ground with the tip of a claw. The old woman struggled to move the claw from her stomach, but she might well have been pushing him out, and she coughed briefly, sending a small spray of blood into the air, then collapsed to the ground, her energy spent. Kaine lurched to her feet, only to fall back to earth with a gasp. Her ankles were on fire. One or both of them were surely broken. Ignoring the pain that screamed through her body, she began dragging herself across the ground and leaving a drunken trail of blust and dud. Dust and blood in her wake. Good grandma, hold on just a little longer. This was turning blue, her eyes rolling back until only the whites were exposed. Kaine pulled herself across the ground with maddening slowness. The distance seemed to increase with every second that passed. The shade glanced between the two women and flicked its tongue, its giant mouth turning up at the corner. A short, panting breath belched from somewhere deep inside its core. Bastard, laughing at us. She had no idea how such a mindless creature could experience emotion, but there could be no doubt the shade was taking joy in their suffering. "Yeah, I see your plan." Shade moved his claws slightly, allowing Grandma to breathe again. It was clearly keeping her alive, only to snuff her life out when Kaine was close enough to touch her. "I'm gonna kill this bastard." Summoning all her strength, Kaine rose to her feet. There was a sickening snap from her right ankle as the foot twisted backwards, but she forced it from her mind and began to hobble towards the monster. Pulling a small knife from the pouch at her waist, she leapt on the foot that pinned her grandmother and plunged the weapon deep. "Give her back," she screamed. "Give her back to me." It was like stabbing a rock. After a few swipes, the knife broke at the hilt with a dull snap. The shade panted laughter again, then raised its tail and sent it rushing through the air towards the young girl that was latched to its foot. Kaine never had a chance. The tail struck her square in the chest and sent her crashing into the burning wreckage of the home. As she lay on the ground with blood pouring from multiple wounds, a small, weak voice spoke up. "Kaine?" Kaine's vision blurred, but she forced herself to focus on the sound. Finally, her eyes cleared enough for her to make out her grandmother's hands reaching out to her through the smoke. "Kaine, you gotta run. You can't best this one." Grab the hand and held on with all her strength. "Grandma, come on, we have to go." The old woman coughed loudly. One of her hands, slick with blood, slipped from Kaine's grasp and thumped to the ground below. "Grandma, no. I said run, goddammit. You have to live. You have to get through." Thought would stay forever unfinished before she could say another word. The shed's clawed foot descended, smashing through the remains of the roof and down upon the shattered figure of the old woman. Blood oozed from the gaps in the creature's toes as the terrible putrid smell assaulted Kaine's nose once again. She stared at the foot, dumbfounded, confused, convinced that what she was seeing could not possibly be real. When the creature finally lifted its appendage, all that remained underneath was a twisted, unrecognizable mass of rubble and red. Her grandma was gone. Kaine blinked, trying to feel the hands which had been in hers just a moment before. For a fleeting instant, she could remember the warmth of that embrace, the trembling of the fingers, but then the sensation drifted away on the breeze and was gone. Memories flashed through Kaine's mind, one after another, faster and faster, until they became a meaningless jangle of noise. Kaine screamed then, a thunderous sound that echoed off the cliffs and seemed to roll away forever. The shade eased forward, black ichor pouring from its mouth and dissolving into smoke on the ground below. The earth shook with every step as it crept towards its prey. Kaine's body slowly rose as if controlled by a mad puppet master. Her arms and legs were bent at impossible angles. Her head lolled dangerously to the side, yet somehow she managed to stand. Uh-oh, uh-oh. No, no, no. What?
What happened?
It skipped a bunch of dialogue.
Was this one? I thought this game had like, just like a bunch of like.
Because this is Kaine's. This is her story. This is her story, so it just started with.
The beast approaches. Oh, I know.
I've gotta. After this. Hold on. I gotta turn you up because. You're a little quiet.
Yeah, it's like an evil worm thing. If you just right click on me. Oh, okay.
No, Discord is frozen.
Oh.
That's fun.
Yeah, I'll just speak up.
No, it's because I turned you down a little bit.
Blocked. I'm getting blocked on stream.
No. I would never.
Did I break your eardrums yet?
No.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna get to play as Kaine.
What anger this creature must have. How did it even survive these past 5 years?
I'm
Not gonna let this happen again. It dies today. My sword feels lighter. It's not the blade, but the skill of the user. Strike it down.
too easy.
Wait, no. I'm pretty sure there's... You can play as Kaine in this.
Mm-hmm.
Gently, weakly, softly, the shade, sure that its tormentor was dead, turned and stomped off toward the horizon. I'm so mad that I missed a whole shit ton of dialogue. Because it, like, the button got stuck or something.
Yeah. It's annoying.
Turned and stomped off towards the horizon, stopping along the way to bellow one final roar. Couldn't kill it. Shamed beyond imagining, Kaine tried to turn her head to the side, but only succeeded in coughing out a huge gout of blood. It was getting difficult to see, and only after a moment of fierce concentration did she realize that her left eye was gone. Laughing to herself, she turned her remaining eye to the ruins of her helm and noticed a ragged stump of arm resting a few feet away. Yeah, that's mine, she thought, with a mad giggle. This is gonna make clapping a real bitch. Ha! Cried a sudden voice from the depths of her mind. Finally gonna die, are ya? Well, you had it coming. Go to hell, Daimo, she thought, at the unseen assailant. Go to hell before I pluck out your eyes and feed them to a dog. The voice of her childhood terror evaporated into smoke, only to be replaced by another, more recent voice. Hold still, said the apothecary, materializing from the ruins like a ghost. I want to draw you. That way you can live forever. No, stop. Don't want to live forever. I want to die right here. I see, he said quietly. Well, if that's what you want. The spectral shopkeeper fluttered in and out of existence for a moment, then produced a piece of paper and sketched quickly. After a few seconds, he turned the page to Kaine and smiled. Since you rejected my offer, I decided to draw someone else. It was a picture of her grandmother, real as life. Kaine opened her mouth to thank the man, but stopped as the picture began to blacken in the middle. Before he could say anything, dozens of multi-legged insects began to swarm across the image, tearing at it with sharpened pincers. No, stop. No, don't hurt that picture. Kaine reached out from her remaining arm and waved futilely at the air. To her surprise, the insects fell off the page into the ground below, where they vanished into tiny black tendrils of smoke. Relieved, Kaine turned her good eye back to the picture, only to open her mouth in a silent scream. The sketch now showed her grandmother as she truly was, a smashed, unrecognizable lump of nothing. The apothecary smiled, then broke into a jolly dance. See that? He cried as he danced his jig. It's perfect now. She looks like you. Ha! Cha-cha-cha. I look like that? Oh God, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Drowning in despair, Kaine laid her head back in the mud and smoke of her ruined house and waited for the end to come. But before she let everything go, an unfamiliar voice began and whispered in her ear. Ain't you got a wish, sunshine? The voice was vulgar and fierce at the same time, as if insanity had somehow found a way to take form. Kaine wanted to scream as the voice crawled under her skin, but her lungs refused to work. You know, a wish, like a prayer or something. Why don't you get on your knees and start praying to heaven? Please, invisible man in the sky, save me, save me. Ha ha ha. Kaine finally resorted to shouting at the voice with her mouth. Why did this go back into windowed mode? I don't make wishes, they don't come true for me. I'm a curse, a freak. I should be left to die. The other voices boomed in her ears. Blah ha ha. Oh God, you are the best. Kaine glanced and saw a black, shiny substance oozing from her leg. She tried to brush it away, but her remaining arm could no longer respond. The substance slowly crept around her feet, then began moving towards the rest of her body. Is this death? Is this what what it's like, or is my mind just losing itself? She could feel the slime oozing upward, feel the hot searing pain it left in its wake. Whatever else might be happening, she was still alive, and this was real. Come on, she said. Come on, said the voice. Let it go. Kaine tried to ignore the voice and concentrate on the pain, but the newcomer would have none of it. Don't ignore me, sunshine. You're ready to give up, ready to die, so why not let me have it? Have what? Your body. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. I want to stand on the ground, feel the rain, taste the wind. The voice paused as if licking its lips, then resumed. It was filled with mad, unabated joy. I want to take your hands and use them to choke the goddamn life out of people. I want to tear out their throats and bathe in the blood, just like before. In response, Kaine shifted her head and vomited. The warmth of it crept down her front and mingled with the pain of the encroaching black ooze. Are you a shade? Ha, yeah, maybe. What of it? Slime reached her face, crept up past her nose, and slowly oozed into the socket of her missing eye. The moment it touched her brain, Kaine was struck by a powerful sensation that she'd never felt in her life. It was ecstasy. She wanted to scream with delight, but all she could manage was a small whispered moan. Feels good, don't it? Asked the voice with a chuckle. Yeah, what can I say? I know how to please the ladies. Now give me that body. Come on, give me the body. I'll give you more of this feeling. It's a fair trade. The black lump began to protrude from Kaine's side. As she watched, it grew longer and thicker, eventually taking the form of her missing arm. I can see better, she thought. My eye must be growing back, too. Slime reached up to envelop the rest of her face, but she managed to brush it away. Stop, she whispered, marveling at how she had regained her voice. Stop. The black ooze hesitated, as if considering this request, then quickly shimmered down her body before disappearing in a cloud of smoke. Ah, what the hell, sunshine, screamed the voice. We had a deal. I thought you wanted to die. Grandma said can't die yet. A brief image of a grandmother, bloodied and broken, flashed through her eyes. She saw the shade that killed her and heard its mocking laughter. Then closed her eyes and forced the image from her mind. Her whole body was quaking with rage. When she opened her eyes again, they burned bright red. That thing took my grandmother. I have to kill it before I die. Kaine glanced down and saw a mysterious pattern. The pattern of the shades burned into her left arm. Well, I'll be damned, she said cheerfully. Look at that, sunshine. I think you and me are gonna be good friends now. Kaine stared intently at her arm. The more emotional she felt, the more the letter seemed ready to puncture her skin and begin infecting the rest of her body. The arm clearly had a will of its own now. Stop. Gotta stop. Holding her left arm in her right, Kaine took a deep breath and tried to calm herself. Come on, don't fight it, pleaded the voice. Hate's my favorite dish and I'm hungry. Let it go, feel the anger, burn with the fire of revenge, thirst for blood, then go out there and... Shut up, and get up. Get the hell out of my body. Your body. Oh, that's rich, sunshine. Real rich. Look, why don't you just up and die so I can have this body all to myself? What do you say? I bet those buddies of yours in the area would love to see you dead. Kaine grabbed a nearby shard of glass and tried to saw off the shade-infected portion of her side. Before she could, her darkened left arm grabbed her right wrist, crushing it. Kaine screamed and dropped the shard as the sound of bone crunching on bone filled the air. Ha, stupid idiot, you're possessed now, sunshine. And there ain't no going back. The voice laughed again, a loud, long wail that seemed to go on without end. Possessed, whispered Kaine. Yeah, possessed, you and me. We got what you might call a timeshare arrangement. Remember how folks used to think you were a freak? Well, wait till they get a load of you now. Kaine looked up, tears in her eyes. The sky seemed smaller somehow, darker. Is this because of that shade? Is this how they see the world? So, listen, purred the voice. I know this whole possession thing seems a bit sudden, but it ain't all bad. There's plenty in it for you, too. I'm a very powerful creature, Sunshine, and now that power belongs to you. You got enemies, people you want to kill, I can make it happen. That little fat kid who kept picking on you, that big old shade that squashed your granny, we'll wrap them up in their own assholes. No more abuse for you, Sunshine, no more pain. Wait, said Kaine, you're a shade. Why would you help me kill another shade? What, you think I'm some kind of racist, some killing snob? I don't give a good goddamn who you murder, honeypots. I just want to drink from the well. Kaine considered this as she struggled to her feet, the power of the shade coursing through her. The smoke from her house was drifting away with the wind. She enjoyed the way the cool evening breeze felt on her new left arm. After a long pause, the voice spoke up again. So, how about it? You and me, we could have some good times together. Look, I'll even take care of the bloody part if you don't want. Fuck off, asshole, muttered Kaine. I'll handle the killing. Kahaha, screamed the voice. Look at you, oh Sunshine, we're gonna have so much fun. So listen, my name's Tyran. If you ever need me, I'll just be hanging out in this piece of meat you call a heart. Now get to it. The more you kill, the more your heart turns rotten and sour, and I like rotten and sour. Kaine found herself nodding at the voice. Yeah, she said, yeah, I think this can work. I'm gonna find that shade and we're gonna strangle it with its own guts. And when I'm done, I'm gonna do the same to you, Tyran. Count on it. Ha, laughed Tyran. I've shit bigger than you, so good luck with that. Oh, and hey, one more thing. Right now, you and me are sharing this body, but if you ever run out of hate, if you ever, go soft, then I'm gonna take over everything. So keep on killing, Sunshine, and watch your back. The voice grew fainter and gradually faded away, fading to somewhere deep inside Kaine herself. Kaine waited until she was sure the voice was gone, then waved her new left arm around a few times. It feels perfectly normal, she thought. It feels like mine. Desperately, she began poking and prodding at the new limb, determined to find something wrong with it. She didn't want it to feel normal. That would mean the creature inside her had already won. I am not a shade. I am Kaine. It did it again! Sorry, Grandma, I'm so sorry, but I don't deserve to wear this anymore. I'm possessed, corrupted, a freak. This time I don't think there's any going back. Holding the flowers in her heart, Kaine fell to the ground and sobbed. As night gradually lightened to dawn and the people of the area rose to their daily tasks, she remained in that position as if tears could somehow wash away the horror that now infected her world.
Alive. Stay alive. Stay alive.
Grandma.
Kaine, you gotta live. You gotta come back to us.
Oh, hey. Emil, you were the one calling me, weren't you?
You still recognize me?
Of course. I knew you right away.
Thank you, Kaine.
Welcome back, Kaine.
Wow, you grew up. So, how long has it been?
5 years.
Shit. That's a long time. Any luck with Yona?
We are still no closer to finding her. We need a way to locate the Shadow Lord.
By the way, this is for you.
Is that a lunar tear?
It's not as good as your grandmother's, but I tried.
No, it's great. Thank you.
Kaine waking from her long petrified sleep. Emil's unflagging kindness. Our reunion was a happy one. We let it wash over us like rain. That is, until Devila and Popola had to go and ruin it all. Are you kidding me? You can't be serious!
Please, try to understand. People are tired and scared, and... I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to bear the brunt of that.
This is crap, and you know it!
It's okay. We can sleep outside.
No one's sleeping outside. You and Kaine saved this village, and now they want to run you out?
People are afraid of us. And really, I understand. I mean, look at me. As long as you're still with us, I can deal with it. Right, Kaine?
I'm used to sleeping outside.
But...
We'll see you later.
Sorry about this.
What is the matter?
Kaine always sleeps outside. I never thought about that until just now. Never even occurred to me. Damn it.
We should turn in.
I didn't get much sleep that night. For the first time in my life, I hated Devila. For the first time in my life, I doubted Popola. But those feelings are pointless in the end. They said and did what they did for the sake of the village. To protect it from the horror of the Shades. Really, how can I blame Devila and Popola? In the end, I'm just as bad. Because I never once stopped to think about Kaine and Emil's situation myself. I should apologize to Kaine and Emil. But... what good would that even do? Wait, is that...
Campfires are weird, aren't they? I'm so happy to get to talk to you again, Kaine.
Yeah, me too.
I tried everything I could think of to save you, you know. I polished you with a special cloth. I poured warm water over you.
Wait, you poured water on me?
Yeah, but it didn't really do much except make you all shiny.
Hey, Emil. Thanks for saving me.
I guess you noticed how I look different now.
I'm sorry, Emil. I'm sorry for all of it.
Well, I mean, this new form isn't all bad, you know? At least I can look at you when we talk, right? Hey, so why don't you tell me something about yourself?
I'm not very interesting. Sorry.
Come on, I just want to know you better. Please?
Fine. This all happened when I was a kid. Before the whole shade possession thing. My body is... different. And when the villagers found out about it, they started treating me like a freak. But one person, my grandmother, accepted me just as I was. No matter how bad things got, she gave me the strength to keep going.
She's really special to you, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, hey! That gives me an idea. Since we cured your petrification, we should start looking for a way to cure your possession in my body. I know we can do it if we all work together. Heck, it'll probably be super easy.
Let me guess. More warm water?
Okay, can we just forget I told you about that?
Sleep well?
Sure.
And yet your red eyes tell a different tale. Don't be so hard on yourself, lad.
I need to go see Devila and Popola.
Very well. What might that be?
It's Mom's diary.
I have not heard you speak much about your mother.
She got the Black Scrawl and died when I was little.
My apologies for bringing it up.
It's all right. I can barely remember her face anymore. This is the only thing I have left of her. Reading it helps remind me of when we were still a family.
I see.
But the final entries get a little strange.
In what way?
Well, here. Take a look.
Say there. Can you not hear me?
The hell?
Why are you standing about like a slack-jawed ninny?
Sorry. Felt like I was dreaming or something.
Sleeping on one's feet is quite the talent indeed. Come now, there's the door.
Right. Let's go.
What battles do you want I don't know what's going on here. This is all completely new to me. Scroll, lost destiny, a white book, the false truth.
Hey, I'd be back.
Okay.
I just had dinner. Fuck you.
Soldiers of Salt calling forth white death, their legion. I was reading the thingy. Dragon's corpse brought death to the world of living mortals. Oh my god. Oh my god. Really? I couldn't jump over this,
Just like Mario now. Crash Bandicoot.
yeah.
Holy.
The heavy sword moveset on this in this game feels really clunky. How do I access that? Oh, forget.
My word.
Something wrong?
I feel as if I've just awoken from a most unpleasant dream.
I know what you mean. That happens to me whenever I read it.
What? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, I said I was watching a YouTube short where there's like a gun skin that looks like a
Blacksmiths always do well.
a sausage. If you know what I mean?
Wait, what about a sausage? I'm sorry.
Like a wiener.
Yeah. What looks
Yeah,
like a wiener?
The CS2 gun skin.
Oh.
It makes the gun look like.
Oh,
You know.
man.
What's the problem?
Well, I was distracted while I was cooking and sort of started a fire. Now I have to repair the kitchen and all my equipment. Can't make the repairs without a bunch of parts, but the only place you can find that much scrap is in the junk heap.
Yeah, that's bad news, all right.
You sure? You'll have to bring in a whole bunch of robots and take it from them, so it ain't exactly safe.
All the more reason to entrust the task to us.
This won't be our first time in the junk heap. Just let us know what you need.
Thanks. I really appreciate this. I need 1 memory alloy, 10 titanium alloys, and 10 broken motors. Got all that?
Wow, that's a lot. But okay, we'll be back in a while.
I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be back. Hi, I'm back.
Hi.
I love you.
I love you.